Welcome to LC Spring Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of It, Chapter 2. Hi, Georgie. Georgie, don't you want to play? You don't want to be my friend, Georgie? It Chapter 2 is the sequel to It from 2017, a Stephen King adaptation, and the same story of the 1990s TV miniseries. This time, the Losers Club is all grown up and are forced to return to Derry when the dear friend Pennywise resurrects to wreak havoc on a new generation. Things really start to get dangerous yet again when they realize they must be the ones, together as a group, that must fight off the devilish clown and kill him once and for all. So I loved it, the first chapter of the 2017 film. I also really like the Tim Curry rendition of Pennywise and a good portion, at least, of that TV miniseries. So I was already pretty excited. I was hoping that we could get a really good take on the second half of this film because I'm going to be honest, the second half, when they're adults, is where the miniseries implodes for me. The first half, when they're kids, I love. I've always loved it. But that second half, it just doesn't work on any level. They were fighting an uphill battle here. Stay true to the source material and try to find some way to make this really crazy ending work somehow. Or forget the source material, make your new ending. Well, they definitely went with the former. I have personally not read the actual Stephen King novel, but I have heard it stays very faithful to the actual material. However, for me personally, it's just okay. Yeah, this ending is rough, but it's far and away an improvement on the same story from the miniseries. So let's go ahead and start off with the positives. What does It Chapter 2 do well? There's actually quite a lot it does well. This is not a terrible film by any means. There's a lot to really love here. First of all, the acting is all really strong. Jessica Chastain, I love her. I always love her, and I think she was wonderful. James McAvoy, can he do any wrong? He's also great in this film. However, I want to give a special shout out to Bill Hader because I think he was stellar, and out of our Losers Club cast, was the best. I thought he stole that whole side of the film. He really had moments to shine and just demonstrate yet again what a talented actor Bill Hader is when you give him good material. He's great. Plus, all the other adult cast members are also strong, just given a lot less to work with overall. And the kids are great. They're actually in this movie a lot more than I had originally anticipated, and I thought they were really good, as they were in the first film. But of course, Bill Skarsgård is the true star of this film, and he is just as amazing as he was the first time around. He's created such a distinct character for Pennywise, and is so good. Everything about his depiction of this demon is wonderful. And Pennywise as a character shines yet again. The movie is far and away its most successful when Pennywise is involved with the story. Particularly, the story is most successful when Pennywise, the dancing clown, specifically, is involved. And that's how it's always been for me with this story. When we have the clown as kind of the centerpiece of what's driving everything, it works really well. And I think they realized that because, at least in execution and visually, for the ending of this version, they definitely try to keep more of Pennywise the clown and that aesthetic, realizing what happened in that miniseries was just terrible. And I think this film works really, really well as a coming of age sequel, honestly. And we don't really get coming of age sequels, but this really brings that into perspective. And that's where everything shines, is when we have these friendship moments. That's when we're at our best, when the characters are doing retrospection, introspection, and really bonding with one another yet again. the emotions start to really hit home and you feel it again, thanks to the acting, particularly Bill Hader killing it. Those moments of growth and bonding are when the film is most successful. And like with the first It from 2017, this is definitely a coming of age story. The horror elements are certainly there, the scary moments are certainly present, but I think first and foremost, this is definitely a coming of age movie about friendship that has those elements mixed in, used as a device to get to our final point. There's also some really inventive stuff, and I thought the inventive imagery was pretty cool. Some of the scare moments are okay. Nothing in here is very scary, which we'll get to in a second. But some of the moments build up that tension well and kind of give off that creep atmosphere. And I just have to say, again, Pennywise, he just steals the whole show. But particularly with Pennywise, the moments of comedy with him are gold. I mean, they're so good. Most of the comedy, I would say, is pretty solid in this movie. But Pennywise, I mean, he steals everything. So then what doesn't work so well? What keeps this from being a great follow-up to a really, really good horror film? Just alluded to it already. Stephen King's original material just doesn't work for me. I don't like the second half of the story. And that's really hard to get away from when you're adapting that story. He definitely pokes fun at himself, obviously, with Billy, our pretty much main character here. But poking fun at the fact that everybody hates your endings, it doesn't really make up for the fact that you created a pretty subpar ending here yet again. And I appreciate the filmmakers really trying to scale it in and bring it in and give it a different kind of feel. But I mean, the ending just still is so over the top and bonkers. It doesn't really work for me. And as I mentioned, this is not scary, like at all to me. I didn't get scared in the slightest. There are some decent enough tension building moments, but there's really nothing that even equals up to what we saw in the first film. I feel like most of the scariest moments, or the most horrific moments, or crazy moments, the stuff that might give you like nightmare type of imagery, it's in the trailers. The actual scariest stuff is in the trailers, and that's a bummer. There is plenty of other stuff in here that is horror, but I just didn't find it scary, so that's me. And then we go so CGI heavy in this movie, and that also didn't really work for me. The CGI mostly doesn't look that great. The whole third act, the whole climax of the movie is just like a big CGI fest. This is like a big budget, mainstream horror film. And it just is kind of like, oh, alrighty then. Even elements that we have also seen in the trailer with like the old woman or other elements such as that, they don't look that good either. And I think the CGI keeps it from really crossing over because they're definitely going for a tone. As you can probably tell from that trailer with the old woman, they're going for a nice balance of creepy yet funny. And they strike that balance pretty well. And then, the big reveal happens and it's just not scary at all. And the CGI doesn't look good. And it all fizzles out. And I think that's a major problem the entire film has. I also think there are too many flashbacks in here. We didn't need nearly this many flashbacks. Some worked to nice effect to really bolster what was happening in the modern day. Some worked to nice effect. Most of the horror flashbacks worked pretty well, actually, and they did some amazing transitions from past to present. But then we just got some either that showed like legit clips from the first movie or just kind of like reminded us or just kind of showed these things. I was like, oh, I don't know, this wasn't really needed. And we keep flashing back to the past too much and we're relying on the good half of the story too much. Then there are romances in this film, and I'm going to be honest, I don't remember these like romance subplots being in the original. Like, I know that there was that love triangle type of thing with the miniseries. As I said, I haven't read the book, so I don't really know. However, it wasn't executed very well here. Especially the culmination was super cheesy. I was like, oh my. But then we have another side, like unrequited love plot in here that I really do not remember being in the past one. And I thought that that character and the way that that character should be developing was handled okay, and them dealing with that was handled okay. But the payoff on the unrequited crush type thing, it didn't work for me. I was like, oh, okay then, I guess. Plus, that leads to a lot of our characters really not getting much in terms of development. They bring up these subplots that Pennywise uses to haunt them, and other than, say, Beverly and Billy, they don't really get a whole lot to work with. Bill Hader's character gets probably the next most, but like Mike, the black guy, gets the shaft because he literally doesn't like evolve at all. Finally, I hate to say this, I don't think the original score was all that good in this movie, and it really kind of, I don't know, ruined some moments for me, if I'm being honest. Now, I think the elements taken from the first film were really good. Like that new kind of iconic sound from It worked great. And yet again, they were utilized very well with the sound bites taken from the first movie. However, there was some really like kind of bouncy, hokey music that would start to come in places it just didn't feel all that appropriate. And it happened several times throughout the movie where I was just like completely taken out of what could have been a tension building moment or some sort of real emotion moment with this awkward score. So I don't know. I was not really a fan of the new elements added to the original score this time. Sorry. So overall, It Chapter 2 is unfortunately not nearly as good as its 2017 predecessor. But if you enjoyed that film, I think it gives our characters a decent enough conclusion, and it will give you those Pennywise moments you're craving. Just don't expect to be all that scared, honestly. Keep your expectations in check. Maybe do go back and watch the miniseries so that you can see how truly awful the second half of this story can be told, and it'll make you appreciate how well these filmmakers were able to at least adapt this crazy story they were handed this time around. So, if you're going to see It Chapter 2, I mean, it's the event movie right now. Honestly, I would give it a full price ticket just because it's a horror that should be seen at night, as I always say. But if we're talking in terms of quality, it's a very hesitant matinee. This isn't really a full price quality film. It was just okay for me. So, that is my review of It Chapter 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see It Chapter 2, or have you already seen it? If you have, let me know your thoughts either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!